Today, Bitcoin stabilizes at the $102,000 mark. Trump's Treasury Secretary pick Scott Bessent is confirmed by the Senate. And Eliza Labs founder Shaw Walters reacts to the recent market moves and discusses the AI opportunity in crypto. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea McKeel. Digital currencies are bouncing back from the tech stock-driven sell-off that kicked off the week, although Bitcoin mining stocks are not. Bitcoin was back above $102,000 by noon Eastern after hitting a low of $97,000 yesterday. Ether climbed more than 2% to $31.50, and meanwhile, Solana rose 2.4% to $234. Looking at the mining stocks, Bitcoin miners that also sell power to AI companies extended declines from yesterday's DeepSeek-driven sell-off as the equities market broadly rebounded. Core Scientific and IREN were down 6% and 3% respectively after they each lost more than 30% yesterday. Bitdeer, which sells Bitcoin mining rigs in addition to running its own Bitcoin mining and AI data center businesses, jumped 6%. Benchmark's Mark Palmer attributed the up move to the market's recognition of its mining rig business as a revenue diversifier. It's still down 20% in 2 days. Analysts from Piper Sandler and Cantor Fitzgerald said in notes today that yesterday's sell-off is overdone and is creating good buying opportunities in Bitcoin miners. H.C. Wainwright has a contrarian view on miners' near-term monetization opportunities for AI, however, and tells us their view is hybrid miners will underperform pure-play miners like Mara Holdings and CleanSpark this year. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. The Senate has confirmed Trump's Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent. The chamber voted 68 to 29 to confirm the billionaire hedge fund manager, who's been lauded by the crypto industry for past comments in favor of digital assets. Bessent will help shape tax policy under the Trump administration, but he'll also be part of a new working group focused on digital assets. President Trump signed an executive order last week making crypto a national priority, and that order directs the Treasury Secretary to work with other members of the president's cabinet and federal regulators to shape crypto policy. Next, French prosecutors are reportedly ramping up a money laundering investigation into Binance. Bloomberg reports that investigators will look into whether Binance failed in its KYC obligations, potentially letting money laundering take place on its platform. This, of course, follows the U.S.'s own record-breaking $4 billion settlement for money laundering violations, sanctions violations, and more. We reached out to Binance about the Bloomberg report, and a spokesperson told us Binance is deeply disappointed to learn that a division of the French Public Prosecutor's Office was referring the matter for further investigation. The spokesperson also said Binance fully denies the allegations and will vigorously fight any charges made against it. All right, for our main story, I spoke with Shaw Walters, founder of Eliza Labs, to get his take on crypto's drawdown in reaction to AI competition and to discuss the AI opportunity in crypto. All right, well, Shaw, thank you so much for joining us on Crypto World today. I want to get your reaction to start to the big sell-off that we saw yesterday and the little bounce that we're seeing in the market today.
Sure. I mean, I think there's a perception that this was related to DeepSeek, which is kind of interesting to me because we've seen open source models that have come out regularly for the last couple of years that have been generally very positive for all of us. I think there's probably more like complex market dynamics, and we're just kind of like that's sort of the story that's easiest to digest.
Can you talk to me about AI in crypto? This crossover has been a hot topic for a little over a year now, I think. And just talk to me about how closely tied those two industries are.
I think they haven't been very closely tied for a long time. There is some relation in that like the compute that we use for crypto for mining is very similar to the compute we use for inference. But we're just starting to see this kind of tie between the two sides. A lot of that is tied to basically how do we coordinate and share data? How do we train models? Can we incentivize people to collectively train models together as opposed to just being like in some large company somewhere like OpenAI or Anthropic? But this is all very new. And so, for us, we create agents, and agents is basically a type of application that can come onto social media or interact with you like just the way that we're interacting, like through language. And it's kind of a new paradigm. And people realized, oh, we can use these agents to promote cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. And so that's kind of been where we've seen this like very recent sort of boom in popularity. But there's also the other infrastructure stuff that I could like I could pay for using, running AI inference with a crypto wallet, for example. But it's all very, very new. I think I think people have seen this for a couple of years that this was the case, and VCs have invested into this for a couple of years, but now it's finally starting to come to fruition.
Well, we have an audience of investors, and you just named, a handful of different opportunities for AI in crypto. What would you identify? And this doesn't have to be a specific company or name or anything. It can just be like a topic or a sector. But what would you identify as some of the biggest investable areas for this crossover of AI and crypto?
Sure. I mean, so there's kind of the infrastructure side, which is like actually calling and running an AI model, and there's a lot of companies in that space. I can just off the top of my head, like Curist or Hyperbolic, or there's even companies that will like wrap other companies, like Red Pill, which will let you call OpenAI but using crypto instead of paying directly with fiat. But the big thing that we're seeing is also a lot of stuff on the product side. So for us, our project is called Eliza OS. And a lot of people have invested because it gives them exposure to what users actually interact with and use. And people are then using our software, which is open source, kind of like DeepSeek is open source, our agent stuff is open source, and then using these open source projects to then build their own products on top of. So I'd say that generally what we're seeing is this rise of like desire for exposure because you can't really just go out and invest in like an OpenAI or an Anthropic or one of these companies unless you're like in one of their VC rounds. And so people are basically looking to like anything that's AI related that looks like it could get very popular. And I think that the classes of that are going to be like AI agents, AI products, which are more consumer facing, and then like AI inference, which is actually calling the model to run, generate, and get some response back, and then AI training infrastructure. And other examples would be like Prime Intellect, which is doing more of the training.
Can you go a little bit deeper on the products and the consumer facing stuff? Where would we find that, and where should we be looking for those opportunities?
I think it's really nascent. The thing that's really popular or zeitgeist right now is definitely agents. The idea of the agent is like, okay, let's take my website or application and bring it onto social media or onto my phone or where people are. And there are a whole bunch of different agent projects. Some of those are more like artistic, like Zero Bro is an agent that creates art and music. Some of them are more like frameworks, like what we're doing with Eliza OS, or there's another one like Rig by Arc. And there's like a whole bunch of different frameworks that you could then use to build your own agents. And then there's actual end applications. I mean, there's so many different kinds. A lot of them are like even stuff that's maybe invested in by crypto, but it's just like a normal consumer facing application. And then there's things like terminals, like I think Redacted Terminal or uh, like Solenge is one of the projects that's built on our framework, but then you can go and you can use their front end as like a way to interact with like in their case with GitHub. Or we have a project that's built on us called Eliza Wakes Up, which is actually a character, but then you can pay tokens to interact and chat with that character. So there's, I'm a little biased because I'm inside of my part of the bubble, but there are a whole lot of different projects coming up, and it's all very, very new. This has only happened in the last few months.
And going off of that, how far away do you think we are from some of the biggest promises of that convergence of AI and crypto actually coming to light?
Well, I mean, I think the big thing has been that there's been a real disconnect between like more like serious researchers, so to speak. People who are engaged in like real AI research and development and all that, and seeing crypto as this kind of like separate thing, and now realizing like, oh wait, I can actually fund my research with this. I can actually just build an idea, put it out there, promote it onto social media, and people can start investing right away. So it's very, very early days for this kind of new model, but I think like this year is going to be the year of it for sure. I mean, we're starting to see a lot of people engage in this way, and start to like both fund their projects and kind of come out or a good example is like Noose Research, who has been funded by crypto VCs, but has been reaching out traditionally to like more of the AI side. But now they're starting to build actual like use crypto technology in what they're doing for the infrastructure side. So like give it, I don't know, 6 months, and we're going to see a lot of this. And I think by the end of the year, this will just be like the way that a lot of companies are kind of bootstrapping and getting started.
All right, that's all for Crypto World today. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.